Hello and welcome back to Midnight Grappler Animals. I am your host today, Salt. With me, I have two specialists in my monster hunting agency, Keigen and Lan. Fellas, how we doing today?
Schwatch is how I'm doing today.
What?
Good answer.
I just got the hell out of here. I said Schwatch, and I
Oh,
got the
okay.
hell out of here.
That's cool. I put all my hope in humanity. That's how I'm doing.
Damn. Okay.
Today is another sequel or requel, if you will. Way back when Lan and I did a review of Shin Ultraman, I had a blast. I loved the movie, loved doing the episode, and it's a few years later now. We're revisiting it. How have our opinions grown, shifted, changed, all that? But the whole reason we're doing this today is actually because of Keigen. Keigen suggested this. He liked Shin Godzilla so much, he said, I want to finish out this Shin trilogy. So, Keigen, you brought us here today. We're going to be bouncing around a little bit, but I want to first know how did you enjoy Shin Ultraman?
Everything we did today was awesome. This was great.
How did you watch Shin Ultraman? Actually, that's my question.
Tubi.
Oh, it's on Tubi?
Tubi.
I need a supercut of Lan saying, "Oh, it's on Tubi." That's so many times.
Yeah, it's on
I don't know
Tubi,
why.
though.
I don't know why I'm consistently shocked at the fact that it's on Tubi. Of course, it's on
Everything's
Tubi.
Yeah.
But you know,
I think it's one of Lan's vocal stems now.
The thing is, I watched so we're also talking about 2 episodes of Ultraman here, and for those 2 episodes, I went to Tubi to watch those episodes, and Tubi didn't have them.
They had them for me.
Listen, I'm in
California
Canada.
Tubi had them.
Canadian Tubi really fucked me because
Oh,
I went to Ultraman,
Was it
like
good?
the the banner says Ultraman. It has the picture of the 1966 Ultraman. I click it, and it takes me to the page for the
Netflix.
Ultraman Netflix anime from 2019.
I was worried that was going to happen. I Googled for a long time trying to figure out what ones to watch. And then I went to the Ultraman wiki I went to Jissogi's page. Jissoji. I went to his page on the Ultraman wiki and found the 22 and 23. And then I looked up those titles and it brought me to Tubi. And I was like, oh, cool, Tubi. Okay.
So they might be on Tubi in Canada after all. I just couldn't bother. So then I just went to my
Yeah.
Blu-ray player and I just popped in the DVD, or not the DVD, the Blu-ray disc that had both of those issues.
Why didn't you just do that?
Laziness.
This is why people.
The other thing is I
complain.
watched Shin
Oh,
Ultraman on Blu-ray too, so I was perfectly in the mode to
Yeah.
use that. I don't know why.
PS3 warmed up with the Bluray.
I watched this on the
Ready?
PS5 actually. The PS3 is
okay.
currently indisposed.
Does that work?
Yeah, it's at work.
For a quick little
Today-
big planet.
Today is we will get to our Shin Ultraman review, but I wanted to use this episode as a backdoor for an episode I'd been wanting to do for a while, which was an episode on Akio Jissoji and his contributions to the Ultraman franchise and cinema in general. Largely more Japanese cinema. So to prep for today's episode, before we watched Shin Ultraman, I gave the fellas 2 episodes of Ultraman, the 1966 show, to watch. These were 2 Akio Jissoji episodes. I could have said, let's watch the episodes that primarily influence the plot of Shin Ultraman, as Shin Ultraman is a pretty faithful adaptation of a handful of Ultraman episodes, but that felt a little prescriptive. That's a fine way to watch it. But
I'm glad
that wasn't
you
my
didn't.
goal.
I'm actually glad that you didn't, though, because I think surprisingly this ends up horseshoeing back to Shin Ultraman in a really interesting way, where even though it's not the episodes that were directly, adapted, the spirit of them
Yes.
really do exemplify some of Shin Ultraman's best traits.
I also saw this was you did a very good job. Okay. Excellent.
Let's go.
Thank you. Because so one, I'm like extremely down for that episode. Pitch it whenever. I'm there. I'm ready to do. It's fantastic. I love this idea. But also I would have been very annoyed, especially this week, if I had to watch one movie that got recreated by another person, and then I had to watch like 5 episodes of Ultraman that got remade into another movie, I would have been pissed.
Yeah, it's totally. And I didn't want to put anyone through that. That's way too nerdy. I'm not that kind of autist.
No, this is
anymore.
Great though. I love this.
Anymore.
A different kind, a worse kind.
The re-education camps did a real number on Salt.
San Francisco.
Part of what I wanted to accomplish was showing you this guy, showing these episodes to you guys, and I'm really excited to hear your thoughts as well. Is to me the beauty of Shin Ultraman is not so much like, oh, how much does it capture the lore of Ultraman? I don't really care about that. It's the cinematography and the pacing, the way that Jissoji tells a story, I think is so memorable. So we're going to do a brief, extremely incomplete bio on Jissoji right now before we go into those 2 episodes. Jissoji was the son of a Japanese diplomat, and I believe his father was largely stationed in France, because when Jissoji grew up in Japan, he took all his classes in French. One of his big influences on the way he directed was French New Wave cinema, because he was fluent in French. So that was why I shared with you guys that comic of Ultraman like stomping around Paris. Mm-hmm. And I got to thinking like, oh wow, like so at the time that Jissoji was breaking into the film scene, he was really like probably absorbed in like Godard and all these other like big French names at the time. So I think that's really important to consider when you look at the cinematic language he uses.
It's funny, it's very reminiscent of Okamoto Taro as well, because Okamoto Taro went to Paris to study, and that's what ended up influencing his art as well. So it's like a very interesting thing to see that parallel line there, Oh,
I'm so glad you mentioned that. That's really cool. So Jissoji, he went from his college directly to Tsuburaya. He pitched a few episodes for Ultra Q. Those never got produced, but he worked on 3 episodes of Tsuburaya Productions in the 1960s. He worked on Ultraman, he worked on the follow-up series Ultra 7, and he worked on a 3rd show called Operation Mystery, which was kind of like Ultra Q, where it was more like sci-fi thriller stuff, not so much always like giant monsters. I as a side note, I watched one of his episodes. It's about how talking on the phone makes you die from immolation, and I think that's like a pretty accurate like documentary type thing.
Akio Jissoji would really love phone bad memes in the modern day if you're allowed today.
Yeah, he rocks. I will watch anything by this guy. Now, another thing about Jissoji that I find really remarkable is he bounced back and forth his whole life between Tsuburaya Productions, and which was largely Ultraman related content, and adult films. And I mean adult films in both senses. Like he was making sophisticated, real movies, but a lot of them had like extremely sexual, often BDSM content. So it is interesting to see some of those thematic parallels in his works. I want to ask Lan, I think you've probably watched more of Jissoji's non-Tsuburaya stuff than me. Is there anything you want to speak to there?
Yeah, so there is a trilogy of films that it's called the Buddhist Trilogy. That is, if I can remember the names correctly, it's This Transient Life, Poem, and Mandala. And I think it's probably in the wrong order, but it's those 3 films. And they're all, very erotic films, and they deal with sex and violence, both in movies and TV. And yeah, a lot of the visual language there is very much what you see in his Ultraman and Tsuburaya work as well. But of course, the subject matter is much different. But yeah, just there is such a level of artistry to the way he frames shots and block shots, and especially the lighting. I find that when it comes to dark scenes, especially, that's where Jissoji's style really pops through.
Yeah, it's I keep wanting to say inimitable, but it's very imitable, which is kind of the point of Shin Ultraman. But it's so striking. You really want to imitate it, right?
Yeah.
A lot of what I've got about Jissoji came from an interview with his lifelong cinematographer Masao Nakabori. So I'll tell two more quick anecdotes about Jissoji before we get into the Ultraman episodes he did. One was Nakabori talks about being a young man. He had only been working at Tsuburaya for a little while when he's like up in the rafters or somewhere, and he sees Jissoji walk on set to direct his first Ultraman episode. And Jissoji is letting the cameras roll. It should be noted here that Jissoji is like one of the few directors at the time who's really like involved with the special effects stuff going on. Like it was fairly common with like someone like Ishiro Honda, for example, to just let Tsuburaya handle all the special effects stuff for Godzilla, and Honda would just be mainly concerned with the human stuff. So Jissoji is watching the scene play out, and he's like, cut, walks right up to the guy in the monster suit, who's kind of a whale monster, and this monster's eating pearls. Jissoji says, "What you're doing is really boring. Do you know the way that women care about pearls? That's what you need to embody. I need you to move that way like a monster." And Nakabori says, like, everyone just starts looking at each other and murmuring, like, who the hell is this guy? This is a weirdo. This is the new director they got on Ultraman. And I think that's perfect. Like that's Jissoji. Like he is a freak. He's shown up and he has changed the game. Now you say you can like talk to the monster suit actor and think, hey, how are you going to move? You're not just going to imitate Godzilla. So I think that's a really like cool thing about Jissoji. And my other quick anecdote is that I watched one episode of Ultraman Max, and in that episode, Jissoji writes a character who is Jissoji, and it's a very meta episode where Jissoji like enters the world of Ultraman, and Jissoji actually becomes Ultraman to fight a monster. And as a big Jissoji fan, that was really special for me to watch. That said, that's all of our Jissoji stuff. Let's quickly cover these two episodes of Ultraman. The first is episode 22, Overthrow the Surface, where Hayato, Ultraman, is kidnapped by the underground people while Teleston wreaks havoc on Japan. There's a really awesome shot of bombs being dropped on Teleston from the plane's POV. The battle is at night, and Ultraman and Teleston's eyes they're glowing. That looks really rad. There's lots of whip pans. And we also get the Jissoji signature of showing you, the viewer, all the camera and film equipment they're using to make this episode. How did you guys like this one?
Keigen, you should go first because I've already seen this episode.
It was great. I mean, it was good. I like the second one more. But I love a white woman causing problems. You know, we gotta love an episode that does that.
The French woman.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
These episodes really are. Both of these episodes are actually really good at white boys and white girls who speak a little Japanese, you know.
Very international episodes. Yeah, like not focused on any one area. The big thing here is the way the camera will just like drop way down and film, be like almost completely obstructed and leave the person in like the corner that's talking, and then pan between, and it'll be the two corners, right? Like there'll just be a chair obscuring it or like a desk. I was like, this is weird. And it's so cool. It's really rad.
You get it, sir. You get it.
Yeah, this was very fun. This one like 100% leaned into that stuff a lot. And that, you know, my other takeaway here, like the worm Godzilla, I think being a kaijutsu actor is what I'm supposed to do with my life. Is what
it looks so much fun.
It would be so much fun. Yeah.
And then you can have a director get up in your face and be like, "No, you need to enter the mind of a greedy woman to understand this monster.
You need to be more horny right now.
Yeah. You need to be horny for
where are
destruction."
my fluffers?
Jissoji understood that this was pornography. This is just, they're on the same continuity.
Just like how Alien, you know, just like how the original Alien was about sex and violence, so was Ultraman. And Ultraman came out before Alien, so
Soji's trailblazer. Anything you want to add about this episode, Lan?
Let's see. There's one thing. For this episode and the next one is the focus on Ide as a character. Because
yes, that's true.
I always think about, because Ultraman is rarely about the Ultraman and the host so much as it is about Ultraman, the host, and the supporting cast, right? And usually there's one or two characters from that supporting cast that are instrumental to the plot of the Monster of the Week stuff. In this case, it is Ide. You know, like Ide is the brash, sort of bleeding heart member of the team, and you know these two episodes do a really good job of showcasing that internalizing, you know, like who he is, how he reacts to things, and just how willing he is to just speak his mind when he sees that something isn't right. You know, like with this episode, especially the focus being on him and taking Hayata basically out of the picture until the last few minutes of the episode, right? It really does showcase just what an important character Ide is to this show.
Oh, yeah. The underground scene was also so cool. Everything underground was awesome.
The reflections in the glasses, especially, and using that to frame.
Yeah. Oh my god, it's so cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean his work, like it doesn't feel dated in that sense. It feels so contemporary.
Yeah.
Our next episode is My Home is Earth. This one is an extremely somber affair. The kaiju Jamila is believed to be a Soviet cosmonaut who mutated into a giant during space travel. Kind of a tragic Reed Richards, if you will. The SSSP, as informed by their Paris branch, must put down the monster. Only Ide dissents and expresses his regret before and after Jamila is killed. The fight between Ultraman and Jamila is not portrayed as heroic, but rather inevitable and dour. There was some crazy lighting in this one.
Yeah, it's an episode that takes primarily in the day.
Yeah.
I noticed.
There's that one night shot where the white guy is talking and they put this big floodlight directly behind his head. And he's just like a black silhouette in front of this bright light. It's a crazy scene, and they're all just sitting out in front of floodlights at nighttime. It's so cool. It's just purely for style. I love it. And how'd you like this one, Keigen?
This one I was locked in fully. Like the other one, I took a lot of notes, and it was like a little more of and this isn't an enjoyment thing in any way, but it was a little more homework of like, okay, I have to turn this thing on and watch it because I want to get to Shin. This one, I was just like, this was an episode of television that I was sitting down and enjoying. Like I took hardly any notes because I was just like, oh, what? Like all of it, every end to end was just very like you said, it feels more contemporary, and I'm especially going through Kamen Rider right now. I don't between the two things, I don't know that contemporary is exactly, because I can feel that it's dated, but it's also like this is stuff I haven't engaged with. So it's this weird thing that it feels almost timeless. It feels like I'm stepping out of time and experiencing this thing. Like out of time, but in a way that it doesn't feel old. I don't know. I'll find words for that at some point. Maybe by the end of Kamen Rider Long. But this was awesome. This is such a good episode, and it feels like because Ultraman is like the least of the three that I'm interested in, really. I don't know that it was significantly less interesting to me than Kamen Rider before doing Kamen Rider Long, but now especially I'm like all in on Kamen Rider, I think. And Godzilla, just I already had an understanding of Godzilla, of the Shin things anyway. But this feels like the most sort of thing where I could bridge the gap easiest, because this feels like a really good single issue of a Superman comic or something, right? That somebody would be like, oh, this was really good. It came out like however long ago, and it's like a good example of what a good Superman story could be. And this feels like a great example of why Ultraman is awesome. Like, you can do this kind of stuff. And yeah, it was just great.
Oh yeah. Lan?
Yeah, I mean, these are the episodes that people come to Ultraman for, you know, like the musings on what it means to be human, and questioning the authoritarian structures that keep the world going. Yeah, very, very sad episode, just a real downer of an episode. Again, it's another one where Ide really is the star, you know, more than anyone else. It really showcases that, like, the SSSP, even though they are the protagonists of the show, they don't necessarily have to be the good guys, right? And just how much the bureaucracy of the SSSP, you know, runs counter to a lot of the more humanist elements of the Ultra series. This is one where I'm like, okay, I directly see the relation between this and Shin Ultraman, and I think this is where it settled in for me that, like, Ide in this show really is like the Taki of Shin Ultraman.
Yeah, Ide gives such a powerful monologue at the end. It's very brief, and it's, you know, it's juxtaposed right next to the SSSP, their reflections in the shiny tombstone of Jamila, and, you know, he's begging, you know, both the power structures and the cosmos, why, like, man must carve up man like this, why there can't be an alternative. And I think what makes that even more powerful is when you watch the other episodes, Ide is like this goofy guy.
Yeah. He's a really, like, fun, brash guy otherwise.
Right.
This one case is...
he's like the emotional center of the show.
Yeah, it's incredible. It really is. I think the one shot from this that really, you know, sticks with me, and I think is the most haunting shot of the episode, is the part where Jamila's, you know, like, flailing around in the ground, and he cuts to a shot of the Japanese flag and all the other flags in the mud.
Yes.
And, you know, you see it just get covered with mud. Yeah,
I'm like, that's a moment too of just like, God, I love that when this bullshit just no subtext it, you know, just like do the fight in front of the UN building and let the flags fall down and splash mud on them. It's even sick that I'm like, I know those are tiny flags, you know, like, I can tell those are tiny flags. That makes it even better. It's awesome. It's so good.
I think what I love about that is, and like, this is a good segue into Shin Ultraman, is that Jissoji is a filmmaker who knows his place in the world and knows how his work interacts with broader bodies of work. The last anecdote I wanted to share from his cinematographers, he talks about when Jissoji was hired to film a concert, and I don't remember what this musician's name was, but she was a big pop star, and he was using all his crazy angles in editing, right? Like, he's filming her from so far back that she's like a tiny dot on the stage. He's filming so close that the camera can see inside her mouth, and then he's editing all of this with interviews of people on the street outside the venue, asking them about their thoughts on the war in Vietnam. The network is horrified. You can't film a pop star like this. And I wish I could remember her name, but then people asked her, like, what did you think? And she's like, oh, it was great. I don't think anyone else would ever film me that creatively.
Yeah, that's amazing. Oh, yeah, that's so good.
So with that note on knowing your place in the world and how your work interacts with a broader history and culture, let's move on to Shin Ultraman. Shin Ultraman was a follow-up to Shin Godzilla in every sense. We will definitely come back to that. The movie came out in 2022. Lan and I were both lucky enough to see it in theaters. You saw it at TIFF, right?
No, actually, the first time I saw it was at its North American debut at Fantasia Fest in 2022.
Oh.
And then the second time was the Fathom events, which unlike Shin Kamen Rider, Shin Ultraman actually did manage to have a Canadian release for some fucking reason that I don't know why. Shin Ultraman got 2 days beautifully distributed across the beautiful nation of Canada, but Shin Kamen Rider couldn't even bother for one fucking theater in this fucking nation.
You could have drove to Buffalo.
You know, the political climate was, I could have.
It was Biden. Yeah, it was fine.
It was Biden. I could have,
You could have went and lit the White House on fire if you wanted.
Yeah, I mean, Salt and I go on about the trials and tribulations it took to watch Shin Kamen Rider in our Shin Kamen Rider episode way back when.
The sacrifices I made for Lan.
The sacrifices my hard drive made for me.
Oh, God. Oh, goodness. We love a Cam, you know?
So this, I'm going to do some plot synopsis and some bouncing around. I've already been talking for a while. But this movie opens up with the Shin Godzilla logo and then the Shin Ultraman logo. And there's also an homage to Ultra Q in the graphics there. But we're basically doing a speed run of Ultra Q. We see the SSSP taking out all these monsters. Fun thing at the start here is that the first kaiju Gomez is Shin Godzilla. They took the CG assets and threw some horns and stuff on it, because that's how Tsuburaya Productions got started. They had all of this gear floating around from their Toho productions. They said, we got to make some money on this. Here, slap some crap on that Godzilla suit. We'll film a show. And that's how you got Ultra Q. That takes us into the present day of the film. They've been murderizing kaiju left and right until a stronger kaiju than ever appears, Naranga. This new team that has been formed to fight Naranga, the SSSP, is barking orders to the SDF. They're trying to take down this thing until Kaminaga, one of our team members, notices one boy has not been evacuated from the village that Naranga is attacking. We see Kaminaga burst out of the tent. He runs to capture to protect the boy from the monsters stomping around. Suddenly, a comet appears in the sky. The comet is flying fast towards Earth. It crashes to the ground. Big shockwave hits Kaminaga. We're cutting back and forth. Suddenly, we see a silver giant has appeared. This is the entity that will be dubbed Ultraman soon enough in the film. And he wipes the floor with Naranga. So this takes us maybe 5 or 10 minutes into the film, and this thing is moving at a breakneck pace. How are you doing with this so far at this point in the film, Keigen?
So one of the things that I didn't think about going into it at all, but have been thinking about since I watched it, is how Ultraman and Kamen Rider are adapting seasons or collections of episodes versus Godzilla being movies, right? And I think this is such a sick way to bridge that just immediately, right? Because like part of the appeal of watching Kamen Rider is seeing what weird new monsters show up, whatever, maybe not every week, but every so often, right? And I assume that's the same. Ultraman is probably even more true, right? You want to see a new kaiju every week, more often than not. What a great way to just like do that, and the whole movie does that, right? There's so many bad guys in this movie that need to get beat, and so like this is fine. This is exactly how I think this is the definitively correct way to adapt something like this. I think.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah,
I wasn't lost. Yeah. It was like, okay, this is what this is supposed to be. Cool.
Yeah, I fully agree. I mean, you have nerds saying all the time, like, "Oh, why don't the superhero movies just adapt the comics?" And you see that all the time, and it sucks so much of the time. But this is doing it right, and it's hard to put your finger on why exactly it feels so right. Because the fact that you hadn't seen these episodes, I did that on purpose, and I was like, I think he's still gonna get it.
Yeah, I don't think you need to. I mean, it's fun to get the Easter eggs and stuff like that, but like, it is extremely hack behavior to make a thing and be like, man, I really hope they watch these episodes because they're not going to have that little seed of joy of recognizing Mr. Taboradon or whatever. You know, like, shut the fuck up, man. Just do this. This is how to do it.
That's really good. You could name kaiju.
Okay, as long as I get to be the suit actor.
Yeah, Keigen really wants to get on all fours as a monster.
I will.
I know exactly what Keigen's saying. I've been watching so much Ultraman, and I'm just thinking, this is what I want to do with my life.
I could do that. It's the equivalent of watching like a sports movie, like a sports outing, and you're like, I could hit that. You know, I could do that.
It wouldn't be that hard to be a punter. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
It's like I could listen. I could stand in a wetsuit for 12 hours straight and do those stunts, no problem.
Hey, I've wore a T-Rex. I've wore a T-Rex costume. Okay, I think I could do that for a while.
Do you know how waterlogged the original Ultraman suits would get? Because they are literally just wetsuits.
When are we alive right now, Lan? I'm not saying I'm gonna go time travel.
I'm just saying, like, not much has changed. You know, those suits are still wet. You know, water still does get in those suits.
I'll buy some lotion. It'll be all right.
Lan, what notes do you have on where we're at in the film so far?
So first on the Ultra Q thing, it's something that they didn't need to do, but I'm so glad that they did do. Like, it really does. It's the film equivalent of the All-Star Superman one-pager, you know, where it gives you everything that you need to know about the SSSP within like 3 minutes. And it doesn't take any breaks. It just goes right through it. And I think, I really like the pacing here, especially having since seen Shin Kamen Rider. I think the pacing of the movie is fantastic here. Like, not just for this segment, but for the entire movie. Just how smoothly it flows from scene to scene to scene, from action to action, from character to character. It's no fat, just straight straight action.
Efficient.
Yeah, it's very efficient. Yeah,
and I do think there's a bit of that where, right, like thinking about Shin Godzilla, the like titles of people getting longer is a thing that, like, there's no, I don't think of Shin Godzilla and be like, this is efficient. I think the pace is pretty fast, but I don't think it's super efficient. I think it does have time for like stupid jokes like that. And this isn't a criticism of this, but this is really focused on the efficiency. It's really focused on like, okay, we're adapting a TV series.
Right. It's also more focused on the character moments themselves. Because, like, unlike Shin Godzilla, where the characters really aren't that sympathetic at all, you really ought to sympathize with every single character
team,
here.
For sure.
The whole team. So, like, instead of, going for the fun gag, of course, of the titles and whatnot, focusing on the characters themselves and like what they contribute to the team. Like the first scene we get with the team under the ground in that bunker, you get everything that you need to know about all those characters, you know, within that scene without having to like explain who they are. They just what they're doing gives you exactly what you need to know about their role in this movie.
Yeah, one of those touches that I loved that felt very I mean, different. It immediately set its tone differently from Shin Godzilla was kaiju only show up in Japan and then it's our job to figure this out, and everybody else in the world is like kind of helpful but not really, and we have to convince them, and it's like, cool, you've immediately defined how this is different from Shin Godzilla and set up that I can like these people.
Also that it's a funny bit too, like for some reason they just keep showing up in Japan.
Yeah. So that also, I think it's like really, I'm more and more rankling against being efficiency brained in art, because it's like, well, maybe I should be more patient, maybe I can be a little more patient and give this thing a little more time to figure out what it is. But at the same time, I'm like, sometimes this is awesome, sometimes do an opening crawl, like all that stuff, all these different ways of doing things are artful. And I think this was like got me in immediately, and I'm like, okay, I get what we're doing.
Yeah.
There is some other fun illusions here, and again, like, you don't need to know these things to watch it, but if you do know them, they're fun to look out for. Like, there's a sort of Zero episode of Ultraman, and it's the stage debut. So they did like a live theater event with all the some of the Ultra Q monsters and the new Ultraman monsters to promote this thing, and that was where they debuted the Ultraman suit. So a few hundred kids could have seen Ultraman in the 1960s at that stage event, but the majority of Japanese kids who saw Ultraman were watching it on their televisions, which were still black and white. So if you were watching that, Ultraman looked silver to you, and that's why cool. He's silver in that scene. Yeah.
That's right.
There's a whole bunch of like design notes here that are things that happened either before the production of the original show or things that were left on the cutting room floor. And the thing is, you don't need to know that to enjoy this movie, but it really is something for the freaks. Like,
I didn't even really.
You're a real freak, exactly why they went with Gomez first.
Yeah. I didn't even. I was like, okay, he ain't got the red. Cool, he'll get it from whatever, and then he did. So I was like, all right, cool.
No color timer either this time, which is also another nod to the fact that originally he wasn't supposed to have a color timer.
Yeah, so I think that's a really interesting note, because the other man we haven't talked about is Toll Narita, who did the designs for Ultraman and most of the kaiju. You can look at his original art. It's been compiled in books. A lot of people post it online. He was an incredible designer. Like, we're talking about prolific designers. He's on the level of Jack Kirby, just in terms of how much his designs have been imitated, right? And I don't mean style, right? And when Toll drew the Ultraman suit, the bright flashing timer is not on the suit. So he was horrified when he sees the show implement the timer, and so it's a nod to his original design to take off the timer, and just aesthetically it looks a lot better.
I do love when artists are babies, though.
Yeah. Stomp your feet.
Yeah.
So we'll progress a little bit. Ultraman disposes of Naranga, flies off, and now the media, civilians, the SSP, all these different military and government branches, they're wondering, what is this entity? He gets dubbed Ultraman. The team convenes at their headquarters, and a new member enters the team. We have Asami. She's from one of the intelligence agencies. She arrives and immediately clocks everyone on the team. Like, I know your deal. I know your deal. But then when she meets Shinji Kaminaga, who has fused with Ultraman, she's baffled. And it was so funny. Like I had watched. This is my third watch, and it was. I don't know why, but it was only on this watch too that like it really registered to me like what a freak Ultraman is when he's like puppeting Kaminaga's body. Like I love this conversation they have where he asks her, "What do I call the people here?" Sami says they're SSSP members, and then Ultraman through Kaminaga says, "No, I mean in terms of human conceptual thought." Sami says, "They're our teammates, our friends." And Ultraman nervously looks around, and that's the whole movie. That one interaction tells you what this movie's about. It's incredible. This weird autistic space freak is learning that treating people as your friends and that it's okay to trust is how we move forward and find our humanity.
Yeah, no, that conversation is it's laying out all of the themes of the thing. They took the moment, they took the literal like moment in the early parts to like, these are like earthquakes, these are what we have to do, when world disasters are happening. And then this is laying out the like, we have to take care of each other, we have to care about each other, what's the point? And yeah, it's like such a linchpin of a thing that it kind of just keeps like echoing back toward the back half of the movie. It keeps echoing back to this conversation, not overtly, but in a way that's like, okay, obviously this is super important to the thing.
Lan, anything you want to share here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that I was really focusing on this time was just Ultraman's role as an outsider and as an observer, especially, like how he moves when he's interacting with his fellow team members, and when he's interacting with them, just kind of like a baby, interacting with the world for the first time. It's just like the fascination, totally. Like the innocent fascination, and then when he's in the basement, just scanning through the books, just trying to understand everything that he possibly can, like that feverish hyperfixation on understanding why humans are the way that they are. I think that it's such a necessary scene, like for a movie that's as efficient as it is, the fact that we got that really does speak to, just the love for humanity that this movie has. Yeah, that's my take.
Hell yeah, fully agree. There are soon reports of another. This is like the 10th kaiju we've had to fight in like 15 minutes. It rocks. Next we have Gabora. That's what this new monster is dubbed. He is he's radioactive, so we've got a problem. If Ultraman fires his beam at him, everyone's cooked. So Ultraman has to figure out a different way to dispose of Gabora. And when he absorbs all the radiation in a sort of non-combative role, and then physically removes Gabora from the site that Gabora was stomping around and tearing up, the team is a little taken aback at how Ultraman could have had that information. And this is where we see Asami is a she's kind of one step ahead of her when she realizes like, dang, like how did Ultraman have that information? I want to nerd out on Jissoji here. There's some really terrific Jissoji shots we're getting. Like when you see them in the bunker again, they've got their like UN type helmets like in the foreground. Yeah. That was a thing he would do all the time in Ultraman, is like have the team's helmets like in the foreground. I think that's wonderful. We're just the editing on this thing is so frenetic, and I've seen a lot of people's reviews like they're kind of like offended at how this thing is chopped, and I love it. I love how fast this movie cuts between shots. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And yeah, like Ultraman is red here since there's no color timer. As the radiation is depleting him of energy, we see him turn green instead. It's a nice way to do that visual storytelling without a color timer. After Gabora is disposed of, we see the SSSP's headquarters gets all their data lost, and then we, because there's an electricity shortage, we are now introduced to one of my favorite freaks in this movie,
He's
Zerub.
awesome.
How did you like Zerub?
He's just got a little hat and a trench coat. It's so funny. He's just like, that's my favorite. That is top tier character design to me. Is like, draw a freaky little head and then just put him in a trench coat and a hat, and now you don't even have to do anything else. You just have a weird little guy. It's perfect. He's great. He's so
the
good.
Scene where he's introduced, like the Jissoji-isms there, it really is like peak Jissoji.
Yeah, I mean, everyone being like, I love that Jissoji-ism where like you shuttle a character into like the corner of a screen and someone else is huge. I mean, I'll talk more about that later, but we are done with kaiju. There are no more kaiju in this movie. It is all aliens and freaks. So I'm gonna cover the spirit of the synopsis, because I think we can just kind of bounce off of things we love here. Zerub is essentially saying like, "Yo, I'm here. You're under new management now." He's all about beta capsules. He's saying like, "Hey, you could have a beta capsule, make your soldiers big." There's wonderful shenanigans with him using the beta capsule against people when he makes Asami go huge.
Wait, that's not Zerub.
I'm sorry. You're right. You're right.
That's Japanese Elon Musk.
Yes.
Japanese alien Elon Musk.
Yeah. But
Zerub does the clone of Ultraman and does the fake Ultraman, which is cool. That's like, it's crazy. This movie has it feels like it's adapting a bunch of episodes of a TV series in a way that I don't think is possible to do good. Like the comparison immediately for me is and this should be bad, right? What I'm about to say is disgusting. The comparisons are Avengers Endgame and The Batman in terms of movies that like feel like things that are chopped up, right? Avengers Endgame basically has an act break at every hour of the film. It's a 3-hour film, and it's basically like 3-hour long sequences stapled together. The Batman is basically the same thing. It's like 3 episodes of Law and Order. And this is like 10 episodes of Ultraman. Like it's nuts. It's so crazy. And it's efficient because it's like you split up those 10 episodes, then you only have 12 minutes each to like transition. And it basically does that, right? Even the what's the little trench coat guy's name?
Zerub.
Okay, Zerub. The Zerub transition to the billionaire guy, even the billionaire arc in this is like 3 different episodes with an introduction and then Asami, giant horny for Asami part, and then like the actual conclusion to that. It's insane that this works at all. Like,
I think the craziest thing though is also the fact that like on the surface, the Zerub beats and the Mephiles beats feel like they should just be retreads of one another, but they don't feel that way at all.
Yeah.
You know, the idea of like a guy comes to Earth, offers the government powers beyond the limits of what humans are even capable of, fights Ultraman, and then dips.
Yeah.
Right. and that, if you boil it down, that's really what it is, but it never feels like a retread.
No, and it's part of it is like they're doing, again, those like 4 things are like 4 different Silver Age superhero concepts, which obviously it's not just Silver Age superhero, but still it's like, oh no, the superhero is bad, right? And then like the lady sidekick saving him, or the lady protagonist, I guess you can call her, Lois Lane, basically, right? And then, oh no, Lois is giant. It's like its own distinct thing, right? And it has its own little portion of the movie. And then even like, oh, the billionaire, he might be good. These are all just like different concepts, and it's like this is just running through them at a clip that's like, how did you conceptualize this? Like, how many index cards did you need to lay out on on the living room floor to like figure out the sequencing of this actually to make it work, because it's nuts. It's so crazy.
There's a concept I've never really settled on a term for, but it's like world building bigness. I don't know how to describe this, but in one word, I mean, but like, for example, when I watch an Avengers film, I think, you know, people talk about like, can you imagine what the characters are doing off screen? And in an Avengers film, it doesn't feel like that to me. It doesn't feel like there's a whole bigger world of exciting Marvel stuff happening. It really feels like this is the only thing happening. Everyone else in the world who's not in the scene at the time is sitting at their house staring at their wall. It doesn't feel like there's big socio-political events and superhero battles happening elsewhere. I don't know why those movies fail so hard at that. But this, like, when you watch this movie with how weird Zerub and Mephilos and Zophie and all these aliens are, it conjures this image in my mind of like, there's just thousands of these freak libertarian fascist space aliens that are like gambling on Earth like they're stock futures. It's I don't know, it really sets my imagination ablaze.
Yeah, no, I think that makes sense because these movies, I mean, part of Shin Godzilla 2, this both, they're about basically like not even middle management government workers, you know? Like so much of it is about
it's just a step above, you know, like Shin
Yeah,
Godzilla,
like
if you think about it,
specialized.
like yeah,
You know, they're like specialized positions, right? But it's just like normal people for the most part. And I think that makes it a lot easier to create that like sense of scale. But it also just like, you know, we meet two different aliens from two different solar systems that interact in a way too that I think lends itself to that sort of galaxy braining.
yeah. I think the thing that, you know, these threats, if you will, to both the kaiju and the aliens, they're not just trials for Ultraman, they're trials for humanity as well, right? Like we see how humanity reacts to the things that these guys do, you know, like when Zerub reveals Ultraman's identity, how that ripples through the rest of the movie, or when Mephiles you know, tries to spin Ultraman taking the beta box as a bad thing, how that ripples through the movie. And even at the very end with Zeton, you know, like I guess we'll talk about that when we get there, but like the idea that, you know, these trials are happening in tandem for not just Ultraman, but the supporting cast, you know, like it's just what I mentioned with the Ultraman episodes we watched, you know, where the Ides of the world and you know the regular people who have to encounter these things, like how do they react to this? How does humanity adjust to the idea of these godlike beings coming to Earth with such frequency? Like the Zerub and Mephiles parts really do exemplify both humanity at their best and their worst.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Zeton especially, like. Yeah, Zeton's the end thesis really for this movie.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of Jissojiisms that I'll keep harping on about because I love them so much. But there's other powerful visuals in this movie too that I don't know who exactly inspired them, and it could just be, you know, Higuchi and Anno just cooking. But one of my favorite shots in this movie is when Asami frees Kaminaga from Zerub. There's this amazing shot with Shinji standing on the roof with his beta capsule to transform, and you see Ultraman's open hand reach out from under him and make the fist around Kaminaga. It's just such awesome comic book superhero imagery that I love seeing a movie brave enough to take on something that expressive. It doesn't have to make sense. It looks so cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have to make sense. It just has to look cool. Is So the flying, I feel like nerds know about Ultraman flying, and so this feels really stupid for me to bring up. I've never watched Ultraman stuff though.
No, I'm glad you brought it up. Keep going.
It's so good. Like I love watching superheroes fly around in like American stuff too, right? Superman flying around in Superman 2025. It's good. It looks fun.
Yeah.
This is so sick though. Like this soundless, it's so alien. It's so wrong. It doesn't make any sense. It's so good.
It's like when he
incredible.
spins around 500 times on his
And then
like
knocks-
hip axis.
Does a backflip kick after oh my goodness. Oh
like,
man.
it's crazy because the first, like, in terms of the inception of the idea, it's like, how did Ultraman fly in the original show? Well, they had a plaster mold of him
It's a toy
that they filmed. It's just
they
it's just they just launched it, right? Okay, we got that. So let's do the same thing. We've got a 3D render that is just him in the flying pose.
We're just gonna float him around in different
We're
speeds.
just gonna float him around. We're gonna flip him around. We're gonna make him do the pinwheel on Gabora.
Oh, it's so
And
good.
like it's crazy,
It's so good.
it's such a small concept that they take to the absolute max.
Well, and I love.
Then there's oh, go ahead, Keen.
Go ahead, Salt.
Well, there's such artifice to it. He's so stiff when he
Mhm.
spins, and it's like that's how an
like he's
alien
a
might
toy.
move. Yeah,
So-
like he's a toy. It's great.
Yeah. One of the things is I'm like, it's funny because we talk about toyetic stuff in Kamen Rider so much of them like creating toys, but this feels like playing with a toy, and like that's fun. That's fun in its own way. And then the other thing I love is like everything, Land, you're describing of like technological limitations impacting canon is like so sick, like this is canonically how this dude moves because they couldn't make him move better 60 years ago. It's like, that's awesome, that's so cool that like the technology is better but you keep doing that. Oh, it's so good.
Well, and your technology's improved, but and I think this is a key detail is like how to use it. Like I hate on a lot of CG, and I've been trying to figure out like why does so much CG bother me, and it's for a lot of it's just the lack of deliberateness. They just said, well, we need to solve a problem, let's CG it over, and I really that laziness is so obvious to me.
I mean,
but
I don't know
this
if you guys
movie is.
Or no, go ahead, Salt.
Oh, all I was going to say is that this movie's the opposite. The CG is so deliberate. We know what our CG can and can't do. We're gonna use this limited budget and this limited technological application to the fullest. And when we can't do a thing in the most elaborate way, we'll do it in a purposely silly way that works to our strengths. And I love that about this movie's approach to CG. Sorry, go ahead, Lan.
No, I was gonna say I don't know if you guys talked about it during the Pirates episode because I haven't edited it yet, but the deliberateness of the CGI, like the reason why CGI back in the day looked better, even though technologically things were worse, right? Is that there was planning. You would plan around the CGI and you'd actually put a great deal of effort into, well, how are these things lit? How do things look when you're putting them around, real people? And I think that level of deliberation, like that early 2000s CG work is really at play here with Shin Ultraman. Everything feels deliberate. Something I want to mention with the fights, actually, both in the Gabora fight and the Mephiles fight, is the meticulous focus and consideration for the choreography to make it feel like a fight from the original series. The rhythm of the fight, like for instance when Gabora is attacking Ultraman with its drill, he grabs the drill, it hits once to the left, once to the right, and then he flips it. Like that's exactly the kind of choreography you'd see in the original series where, it really is that stage play feel, like, okay, you're going to go once to the left, once to the right, and then we're going to do the big flip. Same with Mephiles, when he throws the the disc. One disc goes off to the left, one disc goes off to the right, and then we go for the next one. Yeah.
No, that's a great point. And stage fighting is the perfect example. We talked about that in our common ride along, which you can listen to, patreon.com/midnightgrappleranimals, where we talked about how I loved how symbolic the fighting was in that pilot episode of Kamen Rider. And they're doing something similar here. It's not like, okay, like realistically, like how would he hold his hands up in a defensive position and then punch, and then they'd be grappling on the ground. There's none of that here. It's all just like big expressive stage fighting, and that works with the limitations of the CG they have. Again, it's terrific.
Yeah, it goes beyond just everyone says this is a love letter, or this is they're really showcasing their love, but like this goes beyond just being a love letter to Ultraman. I think there's a freakish obsession that comes across in a great way, honestly, that's at play here with just the level of detail and attention and focus that goes into every single part of this movie.
I'm going to get the segue from Act 2 to Act 3, not move all the way into Act 3. Another alien we've been introduced to is Zophy. He is a member of Ultraman's race. He's from the M78 Nebula, and he shows up on Earth to spell it to Ultraman like, yo, you're not doing the thing right. It's not what we're here to do. We're not here to make friends with the cows. We're here to send the cows off to the factory farming place. You might not like how the other aliens are doing it, but it's got to go that way one way or another. And I think it's a really terrific way that they end the fight with Mephilos. When he's fighting Mephilos, we've got Zophy show up in the background. This little tiny Zophy, like way back there. Mephilos spies him over Ultraman's shoulder, and Mephilos just goes, "No, I'm out of here. I'm not doing this."
I'm good. I'm good. You know what? I'm good. I've done enough.
Yeah. I love that the fight ends that way. Something I skipped over that I loved is when we've got Mephilos and Ultraman in their human forms debating. How did you like that stuff, Keigen?
I mean, at what point was that? At the right before they fight?
Yeah, before they fight, they
meet a few times.
They have a boys' night. They go to a restaurant together.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't take any notes there. I was really just like locked in at this point of the movie, so I wasn't really, my phone was locked in a way. But like that whole sequence again, it's like there's a constant debate in the movie, right, of figuring out what to do with people and what's the outlook and stuff like that. So like just being an extension of that is kind of it. But it's a very fun bit. Again, like it's the concept of like maybe this billionaire is good, and that's fun. It's a fun, like the alien autistic guy hanging out with the billionaire who's trying to sell the Earth is very good.
Now, Keigen, what's your favorite quote? What's your favorite Mephilos quote?
That's one of my favorite sayings. But it's so funny when it turns to that's one of my least favorite sayings.
What was the one you did, Lan?
Oh God, it's been 2 years. I don't remember.
Oh, I remember. He says, I can't say this without laughing. You either poop in the sink or sink in the poop. One of my favorite sayings.
No, it was you either come in the sink or sink in the cum. That's one of my favorite sayings.
That's one of my favorite sayings. It's really good. Yeah, no, it's such a funny bit. It's hilarious. I love that guy. This is great.
Wonderful casting with Koji Yamamoto as Mephilas' human form.
Yeah,
that's how I want people to write Lex. Like, just across the board, just like this idiot guy. It's just that's my preference. Is that it's like he does good things sometimes. Like, why do we?
The casting across the board for the villains is fantastic. You got Kenjiro Tsuda as Zerub, the voice of Kaiba from Yu-Gi-Oh. You've got
see, I never listened to Japanese, so that makes sense that I wouldn't clock it. Okay.
Yeah, and then you've got Koji Yamamoto as Mephilas, and then you've got Koichi Yamadera as Zoffy. And Koichi Yamadera is Akiyama from Yakuza, but also he's the voice of the Zetsu driver in Kamen Rider Zetsu.
Oh, that's crazy! And he's Spike from Cowboy Bebop.
Yeah, and he's Spike from Cowboy Bebop.
He's Spike from Cowboy Bebop.
Spike from Cowboy Bebop. Yeah. Just in order of importance. Akiyama, the Zetsu driver, and Spike from Space
There's
from Space Cowboy.
From Space Cowboy, yep.
There's so many shots in this movie where I say that's my favorite shot. That's my favorite shot. But if I had to pick one shot in this movie that's my favorite shot of all, it's in the confrontation between Mephilas and Ultraman when they go to the kids' playground. It was the second time I was watching this movie that like a new lobe in my brain opened. I don't know how else to describe it, but they're swinging on the swings, right? Like, it's already an amazing composition. You have two aliens that can crack a planet in half, just swinging on swings. They're sitting on the swings, but nonetheless, this is already a great setup. But then it's this awesome Jissojiism where they turn the camera to look up at them, and you've got the kids' plastic toy trucks in the foreground, and it makes the humans look huge. And it's this perfect visual representation of the stakes of this movie, that like these are toys. We've got the toys placed in the foreground to show the alien toys, but it's also the trick photography of how you make, suit actors look large, and it's this scale of large and small. It's how adults look to you when you're a child and you're looking up at these strange, confusing aliens that want to end your world when you're having a bad day. It's there's so many ideas that intersect in that shot. It's what makes this movie a masterpiece to me.
Yeah.
What a smart guy, Saul. That was good.
Oh, I'm a dumb guy who knows how to recognize smart guys doing smart things.
Okay.
Okay.
That's a good skill.
Yeah. Great artists copy, good steal,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shouts.
Shouts to the guy who said that.
Yeah. Ultimate invasion #1.
So, like we said, Mephilas dips. He's not having none of this. And so that means there's now a confrontation between Ultraman and Zoffy. And Zoffy is very clear. He's like, I'm not going to lay hands on you. Told you the cows have to go to the slaughter. And he is unleashing the Zeton weapon upon the planet. Now, just a little editorializing here that I find fascinating is that in the show, Zeton is... He's another like monster suit, but in this he's like a technological weapon. It's a different kind of entity entirely. I want to know what did you guys think of the purpose and the thematic stylings and the aesthetics of Zeton, and I'm also curious about what you thought about the crucifix imagery of Zeton as well.
The crucifix is just pure Subaraya. That's the most Subaraya sketch.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it's also I do think like my connection to that, to a lot of this stuff is Evangelion and Anno too, right? Which like all that looks very Eva, end of Eva to me. Not 1-to-1, not exactly, but it's like the right vibes, right? Even just like the space stuff happening to the Earth is, yeah, it happens in a lot of things, but it's like feels reminiscent enough. I also, there's a degree that the end of this thing ends with a beam struggle from between two different things, and like that it works. This figures out how to make it work. Is the bottom line for me, where because it's done the work of establishing all of the themes, right? It's done the work of telling you what this movie is about, and it's also presented you with cool fights and cool looking things and stuff like that. That it ending with like arguably the blandest fight of the thing works because it's couched in all of the themes of the thing, so then it's like, instead of being just a finale space pew pew thing, it's like, oh, it has all this weight of the whole rest of the movie, where so many other superhero things, especially more modern superhero things, it's like you gotta give me more of a set piece than this. For the most part, this, because it's taken every opportunity it could to do stuff like Salt, you were saying, that the Kazla slaughter, talking about humans versus the alien stuff, talking about working together, believing in humanity, like standing up for something. It stands in for all of that, and it holds all that weight in a way that, like, most other things that end this way, I wouldn't be filled from. But instead here, it's like, it's threatening, it's cool. I don't get bored with it or anything like that. It is, and also it's pretty short, right? That's the other good thing here. It's not like Gohan having to actually, I mean, Gohan versus Cell is sick, so whatever. But it's not like that. It doesn't like take too much time for me. It's like executed as well as this could have possibly been, just like the rest of the movie.
I love in that scene when Ultraman is flying up to confront Zeton, is when we finally get the iconic Shuach transformation of Ultraman flying into the camera with the red background.
So cool.
Yeah. It looks amazing, and I don't love it simply because reference. Like you see that done so haphazardly in so many American superhero movies, but like it's so necessary to that scene. It's so earned. It goes perfectly there. Nothing else could go there, right? It's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned before, this is the thesis of the entire movie. Like, everything about this fight is the thesis of this movie, like what it's trying to say about humanity and what humanity is capable of. Because Ultraman really isn't the person that's doing the bulk of the work here. It's Taki and all the other scientists of the world trying to figure out, like, you've been given fire by God, basically. Like, the entire movie, they treat Ultraman as this like Christ-like figure. Taki even says, like, Ultraman's this godlike figure. He'll handle it for us, and it's this idea that, like, yes, there are these higher powers that exist, but at the end of the day, it's what humanity does in the face of the existence of these higher powers. And I don't just mean like aliens or even God, just the idea of like death and what comes beyond that, and just fighting for life, and just just unity as well. I think that's the big thing, is like, where Shin Godzilla is very cynical about international relations, I think Shin Ultraman says that we don't need to be that way. We can actually link and unite the world through PS4 VR headsets. And come together and showcase the best of humanity. I think there's a few shots in here that I think really exemplify and really wrap things together is the shots of just humanity continuing to exist as it does while all this is happening. You see people crossing the street, you see, kids playing at the playground, all while Zeton is preparing to fire an Earth annihilating beam. It really feels like an act of rebellion in and of itself. The idea that, like, even with annihilation on the brink, humanity continues to exist in the face of it, and just the mere act of existence is sometimes the greatest form of rebellion and resistance that you can have. And just something so powerful about these last 30 minutes. It's right, like it's like half an hour, and it's perfect. Like it accumulates everything that had been building up for the first 2 acts of the movie, and it executes on that perfectly until the very end.
Yeah, you're mentioning the people just going on with their lives, and like when, because that doesn't, it takes time to do that, and it's not a lot of time, but when that happened, I was like, now you stop the movie, you watch the entirety of the film, perfect days, and then you come back.
Yeah.
And it's and now it's even more weight. It's just like, just in the face of all of it, like, live in the face of all of it, live. And it's so good. Mm-hmm. It's so good, especially because, like, you're even saying, it says that thematically in the movie in that moment. You have the confrontation of Ultraman will save us, like, all of that is so good. And then it's like, yeah, God will save us, but only for us. Like, we will make God save us for us is what this movie is about. And that's also sick. That's so cool, because, like, even if whatever, take the religion part of it apart, completely out of it, you believe in energy, you believe in magic, you believe in nothing, whatever. The thing that will make us get saved is us. And it's just like, man, what a good ass, what a damn. It's crazy that they followed up Shin Godzilla with this. Like, it's nuts. What a feel good thing afterward.
It nails the Christ-like superhero better than, the Superman movies very, like, sloppily tried to make Superman Christ. I mean, to James Gunn's credit, one thing he did not do was he did not revisit that really tired trope.
Yeah.
But I think the Ultraman as a Christ-like figure works shockingly well. I mean, obviously all the infrastructure is provided in the old Super Aya show, but it's repurposed here for all these different interpretive possibilities, like you both were saying.
Yeah, like, I mean, there's plenty of Jesus freaks making superhero comics and superhero adjacent comics, but, like, Anno is the kind of Jesus freak that I'll fuck with. Like, all right, dude, you can go off, buddy. It's all right.
Well, and I feel like the Christian imagery in this is not so much like, see, accepting Christ in your heart will save you. It's more like, hey, like, what are these stories trying to tell us? Like, what is universal in Christianity? How can we understand this visually and thematically without necessarily having to believe in it? I find that really beautiful.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also fundamentally about the input and the output interacting too, right? Yeah. Like, Ultraman is not going to save us. It's us saving us, and Ultraman also working with us, and, like, that's the important part to me. I think that you have to, if you're going to do that story, it has to have the humanist part of it. And Superman just grounds it every time. They're just grounding it in the, like, literal death and rebirth, loss and return, whatever, like, all that kind of stuff, instead of that interaction that is faith, that is a, like, human thing. That's a fundamentally human concept, regardless of whether you have any kind of faith. It's like a thing that I think everybody can relate to on some level. And so, like, Ultraman knows that. It's because it's not, like, insane American Christo-fascist grounding it.
Well, and as a Christ-like figure, you're like like I was raised Catholic, even though I haven't been Catholic for most of my life. You know, they talk about Jesus being a God who is made flesh, right? And you know, all that goes with being made flesh, and like that final confrontation between Ultraman and Zeton, with Ultraman, you know, facing the camera and choosing to fight Zeton, even though it means his most certain doom. Like, that is the Christ figure, the godlike figure, becoming human. And I think what that speaks to me as a person is, you can make choices despite your background, despite your programming, despite what you were told you were destined to do. You don't have to go with what Zafi said has to happen. You can make your own. You can push back against that, and if you decide that humanity matters to you.
Yeah. It's spiritual, but it's not necessarily, you know, like that's the thing. You can be your religion can, like, what I'm saying is it's very religious in a spiritual sense, but not necessarily in a strictly Christian sense.
It's like a white girl yoga class. You know?
Yeah. You know, it's just like the Paris members of the SSSP. You know, it's okay when a white guy speaks a little Japanese, and it's okay when it's okay when a Japanese woman speaks a little bit of Russian. You know, it's okay. It's okay. She's probably from Hokkaido. You know.
Yeah, shouts. Hey, that's a good tea. No, I think again, like the interaction of the input and output is the main thing for me. Where and like it's not about the power of faith. It's about the power of having faith in something. And you can have faith in whatever, right? I can have faith in my car getting me to work, whatever. I don't think about it, but it's gonna do that. And like, yeah, I think that's why it works, especially as, you know, I think it's very easy and obvious to jump to the Christ thing immediately. But again, like it's so easy. It's so easy to read past it too. And I think that's what's important also, that it feels more like applicable to everybody. You know, it's not gatekeeping in any way or anything like that.
I mean, there's also the way it intersects with the technology and the technological aspects of this movie, because, you know, for the last three villains of this movie, it's this idea of, okay, we're being handed this technology, you know, like how are we're like I said, we're being handed fire. How do we work with that? You know, when Zerub offered, you know, all of the information on Ultraman and how the beta system works. Well, granted, it wasn't a full thing, but and then Mephiles offering the beta system, you know, or the beta box, to the government, and then Ultraman finally giving all of his knowledge on the beta system to humanity, and the difference between his bequeathal or bequeathing of that knowledge versus, you know, the caveats which the other two were giving their information. It's an element of trust and the idea that humanity can be trusted to make this evolution and to take those steps towards advancement without falling to the evils of society and mankind. Because the first two times it's like, oh, how can we use this for military applications? How can we use this to guarantee our place in the world on a geopolitical scale? And then finally, when Ultraman, you know, gives it's this idea of like, okay, how do we bring people together to use this technology? And yeah, again, it's such a hopeful movie and such a deeply faithful movie in the idea of humanity being able to come together to do something greater. And it's just crazy, you know, the fact that it's able to do that without ever feeling like hope punk.
Yeah, waiting for that.
No. It really, that's a like that's a huge thing here. that it avoids through, and I think it avoids it by kind of faking out that it's going to be cynical, right?
Mhm.
Like they really bought the ability to do this through Shin Godzilla 2, where they're like, look, we can lean into being total fucking dead in the heart people. And so it was like convinced, like this isn't a sequel, but it's the thematic sequel. And so it's like I was convinced that it could take that turn through quite a bit of the movie. And Ultraman also has that capacity too, right? It can be like humans are evil. Like, that's how an episode can end. So it has the ability to do all that. And that was one of the things I was thinking here too, right? Like, we talked about it in both the other Godzilla episodes, but like, I don't think there's really room for a Shin Godzilla sequel unless it's totally schlocky and just really leans into being total garbage. You can make a good movie still, I think. Maybe this, I do think Ultraman still lends enough conceptually outside of what was covered in Shin that I think you could do a sequel where humans are awful.
Well, that's the thing, is like, if you do a Shin Ultra 7, because the whole thing with Ultra 7 is that he is the guy, you know, he's not fusing with anyone. Dan is the Ultraman. So to have that, I think it would be really, I would much rather see them do a sequel to this than either Shin Godzilla or Shin Kamen Rider, if it were, because there's a lot you can do with the idea of again, an alien masquerading as a human, you know, a foreign entity masquerading as one of your own, and how willing humanity is to accept that. Yeah, like this feels like the beta system, you know, it just conceptually, you know, there's just so much you can do with it.
I also, along with some of the stuff you were saying before too, I think it's extremely funny that all the like both the aliens that come here are like, hey, we can make you guys giant. and like, you want a great, and I mean, it is a great weapon, right? I think in real life it's like, if a giant person walked through my city, everything's bad, right? But it's still really funny. It's not like a planet destroying laser or anything. It's just like, hey,
you want to get big?
Giant too. Yeah, like really big.
You want to drop your foot on one specific nation and make the world a better place? I'm just saying.
They're such greasy wheeler dealers, and they still feel like cosmic threats. I love it. I haven't seen anyone do anything like that before.
Mm-hmm.
We're running a little long, but clearly we all adore this movie. Are there any other final thoughts you guys wanted to share?
I think my last thought I want to share on this is that this really is my favorite of the bunch. You know, I think that while Shin Godzilla is a fantastic movie in and of its own, I think this is the one where I'm consistently bowled over every time I watch it. Just for the briefest of moments, I have faith in humanity again, and just the human condition. The final conversation between Zoffy and Ultraman just wrecks me every time. You know, just the idea of fighting to live and accepting to die being the same thing. It completely knocks me over every time. So yeah, it's perfect. It's perfect.
My only other note is that their tarp budget had to be crazy for that shot. Like, tarps are expensive. That's like the candle tweet from Drill. Like,
someone help my film production.
How do you afford all them tarps? That's crazy. That's a lot of tarps.
$300 flight budget. $300 on Mephilus's suits. $3,600 on tarps.
Please, someone help me budget my production. I can't afford catering.
Yeah, my final thoughts that I fully agree with Lan. I think when I saw this one in theaters, like, I had a great time. I really liked it, but every time I come back to it, it it bowls me over again. Like Shin Godzilla, I adore, and yet somehow this one I like it just a little bit better, and I don't know how to quantify that. My only other final note is I love the original music for this. Like the remixes of the old songs are really great, but there's some new music here that is just awesome. Like the music they play during the Ultraman and Mephilos fight is so sick.
Yeah.
The sound in this in general is amazing. I've been watching a lot of Lynch stuff, and it's like even all the special effects talk we had here, it's very I think they're comparable, where it's like it looks good because it doesn't look real.
Yeah.
And it sounds good because it doesn't sound real.
Well, that was our second installment in the Shin series, and would you believe it, folks? They just keep getting better and better, right, Lan?
Shut up.
You know what? It's okay. It's okay.
No,
you know what? This is our time to reevaluate. It's our time to reevaluate. Right. I reevaluated this movie, and it ends up being better than in the first time.
Stop being mean. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for the
You
next
deserve
one.
that. You should. You should.
Listen, if I don't like it because of you, I'm gonna be so mad.
Listen, if you don't like it because of me, then you should just throw out the whole. You should just throw out the whole tub, if I can listen, Kamen Rider along aside, if I can convince you to hate Shin Kamen Rider, then just call it quits. Just wrap it up, Keigen. Just wrap it up. That's all I gotta say.
We will have fun with Shin Kamen Rider, and that is a mandate.
Yeah, I'm listen, I'm gonna go in with the hope, because this movie's instilled hope within me that I'm gonna like it even more this time.
Well, thanks for listening to this episode of Midnight Grappler Animals. We had a lot of fun revisiting Shin Ultraman. If you like the show, you want to show us support, get over onto patreon.com/Midnight Grappler Animals. We appreciate you listening. Throw us a few bucks if you can. If you can't, a good review is also appreciated.
Where can they throw us a couple bucks?
On patreon.com/Midnight Grappler Animals.
There we go. I like when you say it. Say it one more time.
Patreon.com/Midnight Grappler Animals.
Okay.
A show brought to you by two Americans and a Canadian. Had to say it slur style.
Yep.
It sounded like you said collector there a little bit.
Yeah. Hard R, hard N. Before we dip out of here entirely, we have a little feature we call Tastemakers Grab Bag. We will rec to you some media, some activities we have been enjoying. Lan, you go first today.
Okay. Speaking of movies that completely just knocked the ever-living wind out of me, I watched the first Slam Dunk. That is a movie that absolutely wrecked me.
I forgot that came out.
There's the 4K out now from G Kids, as well as the regular Blu-ray.
I was so excited for that. Thank you. This is a gift.
It's 2 hours, and it is just emotionally devastating. First off, it's called the first Slam Dunk, but it adapts the last the last match of the manga. But it takes a very specific turn with the focus of the match that completely blindsided me, and I was just enamored the whole way through. If you haven't read the manga, it's great. If you have read the manga, you're like, holy shit. And it's directed and written by Takehiko Inoue, the creator of the manga. So if you like Shotaro Shinomori directing himself for Kamen Rider, this is like, oh my god, just beautiful. It's a beautiful movie.
I can't.
Yeah, I was gonna recommend Tron Ares, but no, I'm kidding. I haven't seen that yet. Actually, you know what? I'll recommend Police Story. That's a fun movie. Go watch it.
All right,
that's it for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Can't go wrong with Police Story. Keigen, what do you got?
I don't know when this comes out, but it will. So basketball season started, so get on that. Watch every game. Watch a game a night. That's the prescription from Dr. Me. This week we were blessed with an incredible clip. One of the best phrases that anybody's ever said on broadcast television, and that is "The Yankees lose."
The Yankee lose.
The Yankee lose. If you're feeling down, just look up the Yankee lose, and just go ahead and bask in the just incredible feeling. The vibe is fantastic in that video. It's gonna be weeks before I stop saying the Yankee lose. It's fantastic. Okay, I watched Eraserhead for the first time. This was last week. Eraserhead is great. It's fantastic. You all know that. Watch it again. That baby is so good. Baby, I love the Eraserhead baby.
Shout out Eraserhead baby.
God, shout out Eraserhead baby. And then, all right, this is the one that you guys are gonna get mad at me for. Guy already got mad at me about it.
Really?
He made fun of me about it. Didn't have a show, so the final show of this Amazon Prime television show came out. Kendra had watched the first 2 seasons. She was like, "It's good. We should watch it." And I'm like, "Okay."
Is it the Summer I Turned Pretty?
It's the Summer I Turned Pretty.
Okay.
I've only seen season 3, and it's a banger. It's good. It's like extremely melodramatic. You know, it's not as bad as a CW show though. And like I had to calibrate to it. Okay, I did. I had to calibrate to it. But once I did, I was like, this is a 5.5, man. Like, this is fun. It's really good. I was by like episode 4 or 5, I was like, I'm in. I'm here. I'm doing this. It's very fun. It is. You could literally just watch season 3 and I think understand it completely perfectly. I might watch the other 2 seasons the rest of this month while I still have Amazon Prime though. So yeah. I thought about it. I thought about this and I was like, does this go in the grab bag? It does. Right with the Yankee lose.
Why would people be mad? I don't.
Well, it's like adjacent to Bridgerton, and Serge and Lamb made fun of me for Bridgerton, is why. So.
Oh, I didn't make fun of you. It's just the kind of thing I expect you to watch. Same with this. You know, when you again, I was able to predict it because it's the most predictable thing you could watch.
Yeah,
I get why Guy gets mad at you. I get why Guy got mad at you for this, but it's like fork found in drawer. You know, fork found in drawer.
Yeah. You know what? It's a good show. I don't know. I can't always be watching Mad Men, okay? Like, the expectation here. All right. Anyway, those are my.
I have one rec. Shin Ultraman is kind of a cartoon, so I'll recommend a cartoon. This is a 1981 animated film from Hungary called Son of the White Mare. It's an adaptation of, ancient Eurasian nomadic people, their myths, and this Hungarian director Marcel Jankovic adapted these myths into a feature-length film, and it's an incredible surreal take on ancient myth hero cycle stuff. It's so weird. You don't need to take psychedelics to enjoy the psychedelia, or you can take psychedelics. I leave that up to you. That's it.
Nice.
Well,
Thanks for listening, and keep on. Wait.
What?
Huh?
Thanks for listening, and
as always,
keep on grappling.
Shwatch.
Shwatch.
Shwatch. Oh, yes. Shwatch.
Yeah, Shwatch. Yes, of course.
Excellent. Got it in one.
Yeah.